Hi, Andy XL back with another NFXL podcast, and this is episode 11 of my State of the Franchise addresses post the 2025 season and going into this off season. And this one is to look at the Miami Dolphins. So, when the Dolphins gave a concussion prone quarterback who had yet to prove himself of being a top level NFL quarterback a huge new multi year contract, I questioned the wisdom of doing so. Well, now that Tua sized gamble has failed to pay off, the Dolphins have given themselves a real problem to solve. They are in a poor salary cap position and need to offload Tua by the look of it and his contract to get out of it. But will they find a way to do so? They have to if they are to be a contender in 2026 and maybe beyond that. Now, of course, they don't have a lot of cap space to work with, as I say. So how do they get out of this situation? Well, they look to be going into a rebuild mode. So let's have a look at how they're going to go about that. At quarterback, when the Dolphins bench tour after week 14, they gave Quinn Ewers a shot at taking over as their starting quarterback. Whilst he did okay, he does not look like a quarterback to take this team to the postseason anytime soon. They have pick 11 in the first round of the draft, which is going to be too late, way too late to get Fernando Mendoza. And in my opinion, um, too early to take anybody else. And with this quarterback draft looking pretty thin in terms of talent, they may not find the answer to this conundrum via that path. So the new coaching regime has to decide either to bring Tua back into the fold, let Ewers have a go and see if he can develop into a viable starting option, or get a cheap veteran bridge quarterback for next season. But in all honesty, none of these options look particularly good in terms of making them successful next season. At running back, the Dolphins had the 17th ranked run offense last season. Devon Achane had an outstanding season backed up by young backs Jalen Wright and Ollie Gordon. If Gordon and Wright can now show further development in 2026, that would make the Dolphins even better on the ground. And given the quarterback situation, they may well need to have a strong ground game to have any chance of success next term. At wide receiver, Tyreek Hill got hurt early in the season and has now been cut as the Dolphins look to shed cap salary and start a rebuild. So Nick Westbrook-Akini's gone the same way. And with Ced Wilson being another free agent, that leaves them with pretty much Jalen Waddle and Malik Washington at wide receiver. So they need to add two extra ones here this off season. At tight end, Darren Waller and Greg Dulcich had made 19 appearances between them last season. In those games, they contributed 618 yards and 7 touchdowns. Both of these guys are now free agents. If both are back next season, the Dolphins would be unlikely to make any other moves at tight end. But if one or both are not brought back, at least one tight end will need to be added. On the offensive line, apart from Aaron Brewer at centre, the Dolphins did not have a good O line in 2025, but the guard positions in particular need to see significant improvement in 2026. One of those starting guards, Cole Strange, plus 700 other depth O linemen, hit free agency this off-season. So two new starting level guards plus depth re-signings or replacements have to be sorted out this off-season. You're getting an idea of how big a job the Dolphins have got to do here. And then I've just touched on the offensive side. So let's get to the defense. The Dolphins drafted two defensive tackles in Kenneth Grant and Jordan Phillips last year. Phillips was a fifth round pick, but in truth was the better of the two. Those two plus Zach Sealer did okay for Miami, and they will hope the two rookies improve in their second year. So it would seem unlikely the Dolphins look to make any changes at defensive tackle this off-season. On the edge, Bradley Chubb and Chop Robinson got 12.5 sacks between them, but second year man Robinson had just four of them, which was down on his rookie season. So it had to be seen as disappointing. And now they've released Chubb to create some salary space as well, meaning they need to rebuild this pass rushing group pretty much from scratch. Jalen Phillips was traded mid season, and veteran Matt Judon did not last the season in Miami. So replacing them is also on the cards. Another area they need to do a big rebuild in. Right, on to inside linebacker. Jordan Brooks and Tyrell Dodson served the Dolphins well at inside linebacker last season, but KJ Britt did not deliver as they had hoped. It could still be that the Dolphins stick with what they have here, but they may also add another inside linebacker this season. At safety, Minka Fitzpatrick remains one of the best safeties in the game, but with Ifiata Melifonwu and Ashton Davis both being free agents, they now need to choose which one to bring back and maybe draft to replace the other one. Cornerback. The Dolphins ranked 21st for pass defense in 2025. Having noted they can improve their pass rush and have work to do at safety, what about the cornerback position? Jack Jones and nickelback Rasul Douglas are both free agents. Both had good seasons, but they will but will the Dolphins be able to bring both of them back to join last year's draft pick Jason Marshall? Even if they do retain both, Jones and Douglas may still need to draft even if they do retain both Jones and Douglas, they may still need to draft another cornerback as they need more cover and potentially an upgrade on Marshall too. Special teams, punter, kicker, and long snapper all hit free agency this off-season. Jake Bailey was top ranked amongst punters last season, so they should try and get him back. Riley Patterson made 61 of 64 kicks, so he too will be one the Dolphins want to re-sign. Assuming they bring long snapper Joe Cardona back, that would leave this unit intact from last season. Excuse me. Right. In summary, releasing Tyreek Hill and Bradley Chubb to create cap space indicates the Dolphins are about to begin a rebuild of their roster. And if you've listened to what I said as I went through, there's so many areas that need it. But what happens at quarterback is going to be more pivotal for the Dolphins than pretty much any other team next season. And with their options not looking great, that could be the picture the Dolphins may have to face up to, is that they are not going to turn things around next season. Even if they do find a way out the quarterback morass they are in, they need to improve at wide receiver and edge, retain or replace both tight ends, get two new guards and replenish the O-line depth behind the starters, add an inside linebacker, draft a safety, um, and do the same at cornerback. It's just too much work to be done in one off season. So I see next season as one of struggles for the Dolphins, but they have to nail this draft if they have the foundations in place to become a contender again from 2027 onwards. They have 5 picks in the first 3 rounds, three in round 3 that could be particularly useful to them. So I think the Dolphins and the Jets are going to be a mile away from the Bills and the Patriots, or Patriots and Bills, depending which way you see it, in that division next year. And the Dolphins, I see as not making the postseason, maybe even struggling to hold off the Jets for third place in that division. It's going to be a real transitional year for them before they look to get going again from 2027 onwards. So that's how I see the Dolphins. Next up is the Dallas Cowboys. That'll be an interesting one. So look for that one coming up soon. See you later.